Welcome back to the False Prophet channel, and this is Brother Jacob, and this is the False Prophet channel where we get Islam busted and the false prophet of Islam, Muhammad, busted on a regular basis. In today's segment, or tonight rather, depending on what time you'll be viewing this particular video, we will be exposing yet again another claim that Muslims make. And once again, we are premiering the Abdul who goes by the name of Muslim Warrior. But I like to call him Muslim Cheerleader, okay? Now, as you see, he posted something on his YouTube page for his subscribers. And let's read what Muslim Cheerleader had to say. He said, "The N-word got exposed badly since his own God, Yahweh's uncreated form, was seen by Moses. Does that mean Yahweh is created?" Now, first of all, I don't even know what this Abdul is babbling about. I never made any claim what he's saying. Okay, but let's unravel what all of this is about. Because in this segment, we will be dismantling yet again another myth that Muslims make. And the Abdul by the name of Muslim Warrior, I commend him for using the N-word and getting racist with me. Now, let me tell everybody why he is getting racist. Because he is a coward, he is a little girl, and he is upset because of the arguments that I bring up, which I'm going to show you, and he has nothing for it. So what happened is I got under his skin and he's resorting to ad hominems, and this is what happens when Muslims cannot defend Islam. As you see, the recent terrorist attacks in France and the beheading of the school teacher, the shooting of the priest in France. It was a Greek Orthodox priest who was shot by yet again another Mohammedan like Muslim Warrior. And today there was a terrorist attack in Austria where you had a shooting which took place. At least 9 people were shot. From latest reports, I believe one person was left dead, and one of the persons responsible, they had a suicide vest strapped around their body. So what you see this Muslim cheerleader doing, this is what the Muslims do. When they don't have a way to defend what they're saying, they get upset. So they'll either A, blow something up, or they'll get racist and use derogatory terms like you see Muslim cheerleader doing. Okay. And at this time, let's break down the argument for you. And before I even do that, this is the claim that Muslims make. Muslims claim that one day, well, Muslims make 2 claims. Their first claim is that Allah is outside of creation and that nothing in creation is like him. And then they make another claim. According to their hadith, the Muslims will see Allah when they enter paradise. But we will show you how this is impossible based upon the way they describe Allah by saying that he is outside of time and space. And this is what I tell the Abduls, like I've told Muslim cheerleader. When you make those type of astronomical claims, it comes with great theological repercussions that we will show you in this video. So let's get right to it. Let's go to the comment section. And we're going to show you some of the comments. Just look at the foul mouth of this guy. Every other word is the N word. And to the Muslims that's watching this is Islam, because we're going to show you the racism in Islam when we show you the hadith. So by him calling me the N-word, he's only doing like your prophet. Read the name of his channel. This is the Muslim Warrior. Everybody read what he wrote. Look at how many times he used the N-word. The false prophet. Don't be my N. You see? He has no. This is Islam. And I'm happy he's doing it, because he's hurting himself, because he's showing everybody exactly what we've been saying all of this time, that Islam is a terrorist, racist religion. And that's exactly what it is. So whether he knows it or not, he's doing us a favor. So by me showing this, when Muslims watch this video, they can't say anything, because as you see, their fellow Muslim is being racist. So when we say that Islam is a racist religion, I don't want to hear Muslims saying anything, because as you see, Muslim Warrior is a racist, and he is supposed to be your greatest apologetic, even though he's a nobody. Nobody really knows about him. But I see Muslims in his comment section applauding him and giving him praise like he's doing something. But this guy is totally ignorant, as you see. But anyway, let's go to the comment section, and let's start to dismantle these claims. We have to go down. By the way, like, share, and subscribe. People, spread these videos around social media. The arguments on my channel are very original, like the one I'm giving right now that I'm about to break down. So make sure you spread these videos. Don't take them for granted, because we get to the core. Like, here's another Muslim by the name of Mahmoud Boston. He see, a lot of these Muslims, they sing Muslim Warrior use the N-word, and now they thinking it's okay because they following Muslim Warrior. As you see, it's one by the name of Mahmoud Boston. He says, every time I ask these questions, he runs like a black chicken. You see, this is Islam. So I'm happy that they are doing this. Like I told Abdul, Muslim cheerleader, he thinks it's affecting me, but really, I encourage him to keep using these racist epithets, because everybody is going to see this. So the whole world, or whoever sees these videos, they'll see it. So the next time I'm on another Muslim channel and I'm debating Muslims and I bring up the fact that Islam endorses racism, I can go to my videos and pull up the evidence. So he's actually doing us a favor. So I encourage him to keep showing his true colors. Don't stop. Keep doing it, Muslim cheerleader. We love it. So let's show you. Let's get to the grit of the matter. Let's show you this. Okay. Now let's get right into it. The whole argument, or it's not an argument, but the fact that I brought up to him is Muslims claim that in paradise, they will be able to see Allah, which goes against the laws of physics, and it goes against how light works. Okay, let's read the comment I left him. I said, Abdul, why are you running? He kept running from this comment. Because you know I got you busted. Read. But sight is a creation of Allah, Abdul. Did you forget, Abdul? Allah does not enter into his creation. And since Allah is not like anything in creation, Abdul, then how will the light bounce off of Allah and enter into your eyes? Since Allah is immaterial, Abdul, that means it's impossible for light to bounce off of him. So how will you be able to see something that light does not reflect off of, Abdul? Busted. You just created my next vid. I told you, Abdul, the more you talk, the worse it becomes. Allah is using you to allow me to expose Islam. Remember, Abdul, Allah decrees everything, so it was Allah who decreed that you get busted. So basically, and I left him another good comment. Let's show you. I left a real deep comment. Here it goes right here. Now, everybody check this out. This comment is in addition to what I just read. Also consider this fact, Abdul. Light travels. And if Allah does not enter space and time, that gives further proof that Muslims will never see Allah. Everybody listen up to this. But if you say that you will see Allah, that means the light which is required for you to see Allah must travel to Allah in order to reflect off of him so that you may be able to see him. But hold up, there's a huge problem, Abdul. If Allah is outside of time and space, then how can the light which is required to see him travel to where he is if he is outside of time and space? And we all know that light travels, but if Allah is outside of space, then how can the light travel to him if there is no space where Allah lives? I hope I'm not losing anybody. So far, this is what I'm telling him. Let me finish reading it first. So what would the light be traveling through, Abdul, once it exits our space and time to go to where Allah is at? And then, Abdul, how would this light be able to come back into our space and time? And since creation is not outside of our space and time, then what would the light bounce off of? And how could the light still exist if it is outside of our space and time dimension? Who would be viewing the light? And since there is no one outside of space and time, that means, Abdul, according to what you Muslims believe, since Allah is the only one outside of space and time, it means that when the light travels outside of space and time, it will no longer be traveling because obviously there is no more travel outside of space and time. Okay, I know this may sound confusing, but I'm going to break it down and explain it. So if Allah is all that exists outside of this realm, then the light would enter Allah, which means his creation would be inside of him, which means that Allah is space, because for something to be inside of something, there has to be room for that thing to fit within it, especially light, because it travels through space. But here is the dilemma, Abdul. If the light has no other place to go when it reaches outside of our time and space, except for inside of Allah, that means Allah is also space for the reason I explained. And if space is a created thing and Allah is supposed to be unlike any of his creation, then that also destroys the myth that Allah is not like any of his creation. because outside of space and time, the only other space for the light to fit would be within the space of Allah, which proves Allah is space. And the only way out of it is to say that Allah's space is not like this space. You know how the Muslims, well, you are right, but his space is not like this space, which still wouldn't make sense, Abdul, because you say that Allah is outside of space and time. But I just proved that Allah himself is space. So if he himself is space, then how can he be outside of space and time? This also proves that there is no such thing as outside of space and time. Boom! Islam destroyed. I told you, Abdul, you messed with the wrong one. Just wait till this vid goes up, and I'm going to tell all the Muslims to thank you. I want you to thank Muslim Warrior for edging me on, and he is the one that's making me go deeper and deeper. So he is the one responsible for this new video that's exposing and dismantling and destroying another myth in Islam. So everybody give a shout out to Muslim Warrior for exposing yet again another Islamic claim about Allah. So, and I'm going to tell all the Muslims to thank you for encouraging me to go this deep with it. I'll let them know that the more your ego provoked me, the more I turned up the flame. Congrats, Abdul. Thanks to you, now you Muslims will have to deal with yet another irrefutable argument. And then I said, and just wait until I show Rob Christian and Sam Shamoon this. And I'm going to say, thanks to Muslim Warrior for waking up the beast within. I told you, boy, Allah decreed for you to challenge me so he can lead you astray from Islam since I'm exposing the truth. Now you will never be able to make these claims again without thinking about what I'm saying. Absolutely busted. So now I know everything I've read. It was probably, it probably sounded like a bunch of, if you hearing this for the first time, see, I read a lot of books on physics and things like that. So if you hearing this for the first time, but that's okay because I'm going to draw a diagram to explain everything that I was saying. Some of you could have caught on. For those who didn't, don't worry. Brother Jacob is about to break it all down. Now, before I do that, I want to read this hadith. Now, this is the hadith that the Muslims refer to when it says that they will see Allah. Now, Suhaib or Suhaib narrated concerning his Allah statement. For those who do good is the best reward. And even more, the Prophet said, when the people of paradise enter paradise, a caller shall call out, indeed, you have a promise with Allah. They will say, did he not whiten? Notice the racism. Everything in Islam that's good is white. The black stone, it turned from white to black because of sin. Okay? Notice what Muslim Warrior or Muslim cheerleader was saying. He was calling me a what? The N-word. So he is in alignment with his religion. So it doesn't surprise me. Indeed, you have a promise with Allah. They will say, did he not whiten our faces, save us from the fire, and admit us into paradise? They will say, indeed. Then the veil shall be lifted. He said, so by Allah, he did not grant them anything more beloved to them than looking at him. So this hadith is saying that Allah, once the Muslims enter paradise, that he's going to remove the veil and they will be able to see him. And this brings up another question that I asked Muslim cheerleader. This veil, what is this veil? This brings up another question. Allah supposedly has a veil that's preventing people from seeing him. So he has this veil. So the question is the veil created or is it uncreated? This veil that's supposed to be blocking the view so people can't see Allah. Is this veil created or is it uncreated? And if it's created, then doesn't that mean Allah is relying upon his creation? But the Muslims tell us that Allah doesn't need any assistance. Well, right here, we clearly see that this veil, if it is created, because it doesn't say, if this veil is created, then Allah is relying upon his creation to assist him. But it's still a dilemma, because if it's not created, then that means there is something else, just like Allah, that has existed for all eternity. This veil, this uncreated veil. So we'll leave that up for the Muslims to decide. Is this veil created or is it uncreated? What is this veil? Okay, the first things the Muslims will probably say, oh, it's something metaphorical. You know how they are. Whenever they don't have an answer, they'll say it's metaphorical or it's da'if. Like Muslim Warrior, he'll probably watch this video and say, oh, it's weak. It's weak. But this is just one of the hadiths. And I chose this one because it specifically said whiten our faces. But this is just one of the many hadiths that backs up what I'm saying about the Muslims' claim that they will see Allah when they enter paradise. Now, let's go to the diagram board. Now, this is the fun part. This is Brother Jake about to put on my teacher hat and time for me to get real scholarly with you. I'm just joking. Now, let's draw a diagram, okay? Now, this square that I just drew for you, this represents time, and space. And we're going to destroy the Muslim claim. So everything within this square is time and space. Now, outside of the square, we're going to write outside of time and we're just going to put an S, represent space. So inside of the square is, well, we'll just write the rest of it right here. So everything outside of the square represents all of this area right here, where I'll put these squiggly lines. That represents outside of time and space. Inside of the square, where I wrote time and space, that represents time and space. Okay? So now let me remove all of that. Now, what do the Muslims tell us? They tell us that Allah resides outside of this square. So this square represents time and space. The Muslims tell us that Allah lives outside of this square, which represents time and space. Another thing that the Muslims tell us is they say that Allah is not like anything in creation. They say that Allah, he's not a spirit. He is not matter. He is not energy. So therefore, Allah is immaterial. So we're going to write immaterial. He is not material. He's not a material or created thing. So Allah is immaterial. Okay? And he lives outside of time and space. Now, the claim that the Muslims make is that when they enter paradise, that they will be able to see Allah. Okay? Now, let me do something real quick. Let's erase this. Let's erase this word. Is everybody following? Now, light travels through. I know how to spell through. I'm just doing it like that for. I'm not like Muhammad. I'm not illiterate. Light travels through space. Okay? Light does not exist outside of space and time. Space and time and light coexist together. Okay? That's the space and time continuum. So let's show you. Space and time continuum. Space and time continuum means space and time coexist. Okay? Space and time coexist. Okay? And even according to the Quran, space and time and light are all things that were created within space and time. So, and in the Quran, it says that the lights were created to keep, so man can keep time. Okay, so even the Quran is saying that light exists within creation. Okay, light exists within creation. Now that's what the Quran says. The Quran doesn't even have to say that. That's just a scientific fact. We all know that is no such thing as outside of time and space. But we're just playing along with the stupid Muslims' claim, and we're just using it to get them busted. Now, the hadith that we've read, remember, it said that in paradise, the Muslims will see Allah. Okay? But that creates a huge problem. See, when Muslims make these claims that Allah is not like anything in creation, he's outside of time and space, when they make these claims, they don't realize that they are creating huge theological repercussions. Now, let's just show you one of them. Now, in that hadith we read to you, it says that the Muslims will see Allah when he lifts the veil. But guess what, people? Sight is not possible without light. Can everybody agree with that? Sight is not possible without light. And the Muslims already tell us that Allah does not enter into creation. Sight is not possible without light. Allah does not enter into creation. Now, this is where it's about to get heavy. It's about to get real heavy. Now, in order for sight to take place, light must reflect off of objects. Okay? That means if you're in your room right now, everything that you're looking at, you are able to see it because light is bouncing around. And the light that's bouncing around, it enters into your retina and you are able to process images because light is bouncing around within space and time, within creation. But this is where it gets real ugly for the Muslims, okay? Now, this is where it gets real ugly for the Muslims. When they say that they will see Allah in paradise, impossible. Here's why. Okay? And we're about to kill two birds with one stone. Now, they say they're going to see Allah in paradise. Impossible. You know why? We're going to say that this little center circle represents light, okay? Light travels through space, okay? Allah is right here, okay? That represents outside of space and time, okay? This center black circle represents light, okay? That's light. Again, I know how to spell. I'm not illiterate like Muhammad. I'm just doing that to save space. Now, here's the thing. Allah, like we have already said, he is immaterial, okay? Light bounces off of things that have a frequency within creation. Light also bounces off of things that have a mass within creation. Light, it also bounces off of things that have a dimensional space. Okay, it bounces off objects. Objects have a mass, objects have a frequency. But both of those things I just named to you, frequency and mass and even space, are all creations of Allah. And the Muslims already told us that Allah is none of those things. He is not like anything in creation, okay? Now, all of those claims, they can't let them go now. Just because it's about to backfire on them, I don't want them to back up off of their claims. Stick to your guns, Muslim, okay? Now, focus on that center black dot in the middle of the square. That represents light. Light travels. See this line I'm making? That represents light traveling through space. Boom. The light just hit the border of the edge of space and time. But Muslims say that they will see Allah, but Allah is outside of space and time. So in order for them to be able to see Allah, we've already explained that light, in order to see something, light must reflect off of the object that you are looking at. But that's a problem for the Muslims because Allah, once again, he is immaterial. He doesn't have a mass. He doesn't have a frequency. All of those things required for light to bounce off. You got to have a frequency. You got to have mass. You got to be an object. You got to be either a solid. You got to either be a liquid. You can see the light reflecting off the water. You can see the light reflecting off a wall, a car paint job. Allah is immaterial. He's none of these things. Okay? So as you see, let me draw that line again. This is light traveling through space. Boom. Now the Muslims, Muslims, you got a problem now. As you see, watch this line go to the edge of time and space. Boom. Now what, Muslims? Are you telling us that this light beam, look, this light beam is going to, boom, cross over the border of time and space and reflect off of Allah, and then that reflection, the light will come back into our eyes. That represents an eye. And then we'll be able to see Allah. But that's a huge problem. Let's tell you why. Again, light travels through space. So if Allah is outside of space and time, then how can the light continue to travel outside of space and time if Allah is outside of space and time? Meaning there is no space outside of space and time. So how will the light travel when it reaches past the border of this square, which represents space and time. That's a huge theological problem, Muslims. That's a huge theological problem. Now, in order for this to work, the light must be able to travel beyond space and time. Now, since the Hadith already says that the Muslims will see Allah in paradise, that means the light traveled beyond space and time, and that means that there is space outside of space and time. As contradictory as that statement sounds, well, we got to play by the rules that the Muslims give us. This is what they are telling us. Their Hadith says that they will see Allah in paradise, but at the same time, they tell us that Allah does not enter into his creation. And we all know that light is required to see. So in order for them to see Allah, that means that light that's within creation must be able to, again, let me show you, it must travel beyond the border of time and space. But after it crosses over the border of time and space, then, well, how will the light keep traveling if there is no space for the light to travel into? This has destroyed everything that they say. And this is why that little Muslim girl, Muslim cheerleader, that's why he started using the N-word and cursing. That's why he started cursing, because if I was a Muslim, this type of argument would get under my skin. If I was like trying to hold on to it and defend it, and then somebody like Brother Jacob show me something like this, I don't blame you, Muslim coward. I would probably do the same thing. Oh, you N-word, because it gets under your skin. This destroys everything. So now, because the Hadith says that the Muslims will see Allah, then they have to admit that there is space outside of time and space, because light is required for you to see anything. And light traveling is required for you to see anything. If light didn't travel, we couldn't see anything. So that means in order to see Allah, the light must travel to him. But if he is outside of space and time, Muslims, how can the light travel to him? So that means Allah is out. He is not outside of space and time, because the light got to travel to him in order for you to see the light as it reflects off of him and re-enters space and time to go into your retina. Because if there is no space outside of our space and time, then how is the light traveling to meet Allah in order to bounce back so your retina can receive the light so you can see Allah? This destroys everything that the Muslims say. This destroys it. So it proves that, number one, Allah is within space and time. Okay? How do we know that he is in space and time? Because we just said it. Because this light beam, it has to travel outside of the borders of our space and time. And in order for Muslims to see Allah, it has to keep traveling, and then it has to bounce back and re-enter our space and time, almost like reflecting sunlight with one of those magnifying glasses. That's basically what it will have to do. So the light would reach Allah wherever he is in his space. Then it has to bounce off of him, re-enter our space and time in order for the Muslims to see Allah in paradise. This destroys everything Muslims say. And we know that Allah, we just proved why he is within space. And we told you earlier that space and time coexist with each other. You can't have space without time. The speed of light is calculated based upon the distance and the time it takes for it to travel from point A to point B. So if the light has to travel to where Allah is in order for us to see it when it reflects off of him, that means it had to go into space and it took a certain amount of time. So that proves that Allah is within space and time, and that the Muslims' claim is false. We have shattered their claim that Allah is outside of space and time. And another thing that we have shattered is that Allah is a material, because light cannot reflect off of something that is immaterial. So in order for them to see Allah, he has to be a material. You gotta, how can you see something that doesn't have a surface or a frequency to it or some kind of mass to it? Light does not reflect off of immaterial substances. So we have destroyed the Muslims' claims in this terrific video. I hope you all enjoyed it, because I really did. Let's go back to that hadith. Let's go back to that hadith. And it says, then the veil shall be lifted. He said, so by Allah, he did not grant them anything more beloved to them than looking at him. And with that, this is Brother Jacob. Make sure you get this video out. This is a very genius argument. No Muslim can deny this. They cannot. It's nothing they can say to this. And you see why. Now you see why Muslim Cheerleader got so upset with me. This will make any Muslim mad. I've gotten under his skin and I made him dig down in his girly emotions. No disrespect to women, but as a man, you're not supposed to be getting emotional and getting racist, but he lost his marbles. He lost his marbles because he can't defend against things like this. So we have totally destroyed his whole claim. And during our back and forth in the comment section, he kept saying, he said something in regards to, if you see the moon, does that mean the moon is, because I told him that Allah does not enter into creation. And I had said that Muslims, in the hadith, it says that they will see Allah in paradise. But I said to him, sight is the creation of Allah. They say Allah creates everything. And I told him that sight is also a creation of Allah. And then he said to me, he countered what I said. He said, if you see the moon, does that mean the moon is in your sight? Well, I'm going to answer that for you, Abdul. When you see the moon, Abdul, that means it's within time and space. You can't see outside of time and space, dodo bird. You can't see outside of time and space. So, and light, it requires light. You see the moon because light can reflect and reach your eyes. But this hadith says that they will see Allah, which means that Allah is within time and space, and for all of the other reasons that we explained with the diagram and everything. So it's no way that any Muslim can get out of this, because even if they try to go the route, sight is the creation of Allah, but if I see the moon, does that mean that Allah is inside of my sight? Yes, it does. Because you see the moon, that means the moon is within reach of your eyes, because the moon itself is within time and space. So if the Muslims are saying that they can see Allah, then that means they have to admit that light traveled beyond the borders of our time and space, went outside of our time and space, and kept traveling to where Allah is. That's the only way they can say that they see Allah. So now they have, removed the idea. In other words, they can't hold on to both claims at the same time. One of the claims have to be eliminated. They can't say they're going to see Allah in paradise and still hold on to the claim that Allah is outside of space and time, according to everything that I broke down. And nothing I said was theoretical. Everything that I said was factual. And it goes along with the laws of physics, and there's no way they can deny that. And with that, this is Brother Jacob signing out. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments below. And this is the False Prophet channel, where we get Islam busted and the false prophet of Islam, Muhammad, busted on a regular basis. Signing out.